I get discouraged for sure. And I will quit fighting at some point. And that point is when the first shovel of dirt hits the top of my box 6 feet down.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to COS Indiana Live. I kind of messed up there a little bit at the very end of that intro, but I hope you enjoyed that intro. We've made a few changes to it, and I think it's very good. So hope you enjoyed that. Well, I'm Dale Parrish. I'm a member of the comms team, former state director, but want to welcome you to our broadcast this evening, and let me bring on my co-host here, Mr. Ken Kashuba. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Dale. How are you?
Good. Oh, I see. You must have done this banner saying the host is Ken Kashuba.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that one.
Well, you're on your little hiatus there. I had to change that, but yeah, you'll have to get your team to work on that.
Okay, we'll work on that. Well, Ken is, like I said, Ken is the co-host tonight, and one of his major responsibilities tonight is to monitor the comments and questions that we get. So if you're a viewer and you're viewing through either our Facebook page or through YouTube, feel free to send us a comment or a question about tonight and include that in the chat section. I see we're already starting to get some, Ken. So
yeah, people are signing in.
That's good. So Ken will be monitoring those, and when he comes across one that he thinks we should address, he will pop it up on the screen here, and we'll take a look at it. Ken, tonight, if my count is correct, tonight is broadcast number 196, and you have been with me on these for 62 of these broadcasts. We're closing in on the 200 number, aren't we?
Yeah, 4 away, Dale. We're down to the single digits,
You know, 4 more broadcasts. That puts us at May 29th, if everything goes right, and that includes the roundtable on May 22nd. May 29th will be our 200th broadcast. We need to do something special that night, Ken.
Yep, have to have some fireworks.
Yeah. So, good fireworks, okay? We don't want the bad fireworks.
No, good ones, only good ones.
All right. Well, Ken, as you know, let's just talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing this evening. We have been focusing on activism that a person can take in convention of states here in Indiana, and activism, self-governance, however you want to call it, whatever form you want it to take. I think that's what we're trying to focus on, and that's what we want to talk about this evening. I might also mention that we have a little change in our guest tonight. We originally intended to have one of our new district captains on, David Nally, but had a death in the family, so David had to, of course, attend to that situation. So we have, as our stand-in guest tonight, we have the new state director here in Indiana. I was the former state director for Indiana. Just call me the Tucker Carlson of COS Indiana. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And you're introducing your replacement for the first time tonight. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I wasn't asked to leave or to part company. It was my decision, and we won't go over that again. But our new state director, Dale Tipton, has agreed to come on tonight and kind of give us a little brief look at how he sees things in his very, very short time as the new state director. He's only been in that job a week or so here now. So, but I promise that we will have him back at a later time and do a more thorough interview with him once he's got his feet on the ground. But tonight he's going to give us a few of his initial thoughts on how he sees things and what he wants to do. So after that, then we're going to do raise your voice, right?
Yep.
And you want to go ahead and show people of course, raise your voice is our viewing polling segment. So you want to show people what they need to have for that.
We're going to go ahead and bring that QR code up now, so you can get your smartphone out and be all prepared when we jump into our Slido polling tonight. And I think it'll be a good educational one. And so you want to get your phone out and snap that QR code. And if not, get your tablet and sign into slido.com using the numbers 8677492. And that'll get you all hooked up for tonight's Slido presentation.
Okay.
And of course, that QR code will show up when we start the polling as well. So if you're not ready right now, don't fret. You can always jump on when we get into that program as well. But that's the QR code for tonight. So get that on your phone, and we look forward to a new poll tonight.
You think you're going to be able to stump me on the questions tonight?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you probably had a sneak peek tonight. So
I think I did. But I wasn't going to say anything about that.
That's right.
Anyway, well, listen, let's get right into our guest this evening and bring on Dale. And hello, Dale.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Hello, Dale.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you our new state director for Convention of States, Indiana, and Mr. Dale Tipton. And Dale, you've been formally in the job now. How long?
January 2021.
No, as state director. State
director, April 22nd.
There you go.
April 22nd.
Yeah, the dew has not yet dried off of this transition. So
it's going to be a good dress rehearsal for all those speeches you're going to have to give, Dale.
Yeah. I found it kind of interesting that not only did Dale resign, but I heard he supported my name to move forward. So it's kind of like providing a sacrificial lamb at the altar as you step away.
I did. I was asked for my recommendation, and I did. I recommended two individuals that I thought would be good people to take on the job, and you were one of them, Dale. So congratulations, my man. I think you I just know you're going to do a great job, and you're going to bring a needed new energy to our state. So
you know what's going to happen here. We're going to have all these other states wondering how we do it. How do we come up with so many successful state directors? I mean, that's going to be our next play. We're going to have to give another Indiana lesson on how to groom your state directors.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you just look for people with COS experience that are named Dale. pick one.
that seems to be a running
That
course.
could be a standard requirement. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So there you go.
Well, listen, Dale, I know you've only been in the job a few days, quite honestly. Now Dale was, Dale's not obviously not new to convention estates. I think you said you actually started in 2021, was it?
Yeah, January 2021. Yep.
Yeah. And what are the jobs that you've held during that time prior to the state directorship?
Well, I began as a region captain for House District 9 and went from there to being a region
district captain for House District 9.
district captain, correct.
Yeah.
And then a region captain for Region 1, which encompasses House District 9.
Right.
And then from there to the role of state grassroots coordinator. And then from there to state director.
There you go. And I can't foresee anyone stepping into a state director role in convention estates that hasn't gone through that kind of sequence of responsibilities. I guess it could be done, but it just seems to me that is such a needed background. Would you agree, Ken, on that?
Yeah, I'd say that Dale's perspective has been well groomed by the different observations you have to make as you take on those different roles, and you experience those the different segments of positions that are held in COS, and certainly it gives you a good, well-rounded view of what you need to be as a state director, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people question my sanity about, putting some kind of a limitation on that application button on the COS website, before I get into more trouble.
Well, I can remember the days, Dale, you've heard me talk about this before, how Dale, you're from the South Bend area, right? And your region, the Region 1 is that northwestern corner there of Indiana.
Yeah, it's mostly Lake and Porter County was where I was working.
And we had, for years, so much trouble trying to find people in that area, willing to step up and take a leadership role, and struggled for years up there. And finally, when Dale came along, finally things started clicking up in that area. And Dale took over as region captain, got district captain set up, and now is the state director. And just a few years ago, we didn't have anyone up in that area, so it's been quite a transition.
Yeah, it's interesting because probably Region 1 is one of the stronger individual districts in the state right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good to see, good to be a part of.
Okay, well, Dale, I'd ask you to, since you're new to the job and you're just now getting exposed to all of it, so I asked you early on in this just to kind of give us some of your initial thoughts about what you would like to see, what you would like to do in the state. Again, now I want to bring you on a little later on after you've had a chance to settle in more, and we'll see if any of your thoughts or insights have changed by then. But what are some of your? I know you had given me 4 things that you wanted to touch on tonight, right?
That's correct.
Let's take on the first one here.
All right. So relationships, we're talking about calling a convention of the 50 states to propose amendments to the Constitution. So in the state of Indiana, there are 100 legislative districts. And we put in place people called district captains to work within those districts and try to organize their own team therein. And so if you look at the number of legislators we have to work with, we're requesting their support. We want them to continue to support the COS resolution, which is already passed in Indiana, for when a convention is called, and then be prepared to support the convention and proposed amendments that may come out of that convention that will require ratification by 38 states. And so if you're going to have a conversation with somebody at the legislative level, we have to know them. And so one of the key priorities is building relationships with those people. So whenever somebody from Convention of States in their district, and they want to talk to people in their district or in their whether it's House or Senate, we have to have people that have made an effort with these folks so that they can look across the room, recognize them as a Convention of States advocate, come over and talk with them, share some conversation, and be able to communicate. Because if we don't establish trust with these folks, we're really not going to get anywhere with them. It's easy to say, well, I'm your constituent and this is what I'd like you to do for me. But you guys all know that if you sit down with somebody who you physically know and who knows you and what you stand for, it's a lot easier to get a point across.
Yep. Good. Well, that is, we stress certainly the legislator relationship with all of our new district captains. But, I think back when I started in Convention of States, and I started I started as a volunteer and was initially asked to become a district captain. I had never talked to a legislator. I had never ever even spoken to a politician of any type. So I think it's a hard thing to do, isn't it? It's a hard.
Well, the great thing is at the state level, the politicians are your neighbors.
That's right.
They come from your communities. They shop where you shop. They maybe sent their kids to school where you did. And there's some common ground there. At the last surge day that we had, where we go to the Capitol to meet these folks and to communicate with them, I had a talk with my state senator and found out that he sent his kids to the same high school that I sent my kids to.
Really?
And so once you find out some things like that, then you establish some common ground and you can talk about, some of those memories and things, and it kind of just, builds a foundation for you to get started with.
Well, I know I've told this story many times, but when I started, I was asked by the state director at that time, I was asked to contact my state senator and set up a meeting. Well, I come to find I had no idea who that person was to begin with. So I got her name and found out she lived a few blocks from me. And I got a hold of her and set up a meeting at a little cafe just down the street from her house, actually. And that's where it all started. So these with these state legislators, they could very easily live next door to you.
They're ordinary people.
Ordinary people. That's right.
Yeah.
So we got 100 state representatives, and we have 50 state senators, right?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yep.
So each district captain is responsible for at least 2 legislators, and to make contact with them, I always told new district captains that they need to become the contact person for those legislators in their district. If they have any questions about Convention of States, you would be the person they would contact. So
that's right.
But it's not an easy thing to do. But that's why
sometimes,
go ahead.
Sometimes we have to step out of our comfort zones a little bit. That's one of the I guess the parts of being a citizen activist. Most of us don't look at ourselves in that kind of a role, but that's, whenever we start getting involved in politics and actively talking with people, an activist is really what we become. And you guys have been talking about how do you choose your activism, or what kind of activism do I want? Well, this is one way, that you can get started down that road.
Right, right. All right, good. Okay. Well, looks like we got another relationship item here, right?
Well, this one goes to just the folks that are already affiliated within Convention of States. Volunteer activists, district captains, region captains, and all the other roles that support the organization. It's a similar type of thing, but we have to, we do some Zoom meetings and things like that, and you sort of get to know people a little bit. But on a personal level, within a region or within a district, you really need to get together and break bread, or have a coffee or something with the people that you're working with. And it's during this period of time that you start to forge relationships, and trust in a working relationship is initiated in the same way you would with your legislator. And it's the same way if you're a leader in an organization, whether it's a region or something smaller. You have to know who your people are. You have to know what makes them tick. You have to know what their personal problems are, what their limitations are, and their levels of experience, what they might excel at. If they're comfortable doing something, or if they're totally uncomfortable. Share stories about friends, families, where you go out to eat. All those kind of things helps bring you closer together, and that same kind of trust is developed in within the organization as a whole, which kind of binds the whole group together to be more of a family than just a group of people working for Convention of States.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Those. It is a family, isn't it? We're very much a family.
It really is. Mark Meckler likes to tell the story of the founders and pledging, their lives, fortunes, and their sacred honor, and the fact that they weren't pledging it to the country or to the new Constitution or to anything like that. They were pledging that oath to each other as fellow patriots, and that's kind of the way we are. We're involved in an effort that is going to shake the halls of power in Congress. And there's a lot of people there that don't want this to happen. They don't want to see the Constitution amended where their power is going to be limited, through uh, new amendments on term limits, or fiscal restraint, or federal overreach. Um, and so there's going to be some kickback, and there could be some pressure put on us. And as individuals, we need to know that I can look to people like you and Ken, other people, and we know that we're in the fight together, that we share the same ideals, and that if I come up against a problem, people like you guys will back me up. And all of our people need to feel that way.
And it is a fight, that's for sure. Yeah.
So I have to back you up on everything you say and do.
Yeah, based upon your recommendation, I think it's almost like a contract we have, Dale. Come on.
Okay. I didn't think of it that way. I guess. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Well, relationships. Very, very important. Very important. Takes time and effort to develop those. And but I think those are very good insights, Dale. Very good. Okay, let's tell. Now, I know you've been involved in this. Tell us, what's a telepatriot, first of all, for those that may be watching that are not part of the COS family as yet.
Okay, within the organization, we use a communications app, an internal thing called COS Action. And you can go in there and you can pick up recent news. You can find out who leaders are. It'll do a number of different things for you. We can file reports, etc. And if you have an interest, one of the things that you can do is you can sign up to be a telepatriot, and that will add a telepatriot tool to this app. And a telepatriot mission is basically an effort where a group of people who are telepatriot volunteers make calls into a given area. Say there's, for example, there's a state that hasn't yet passed the resolution, and they've got a contrary Senate president who doesn't want to take it out of committee and allow it to have a vote. You could do a telepatriot mission targeting that senator so that his constituents would then call him and say, "Hey, please give this resolution a hearing." That's just one example of the things that you can do with the telepatriot mission. And this basically allows people to sit in the comfort of their living room, make phone calls through the app, and a script is provided to you, so you don't even have to worry about what to say. And you go from one call to the next, either leaving messages or talking to people in person to try to bring to pass whatever the particular purpose is. And it allows congressional leaders or legislators of any type to hear directly from the constituents that live in their areas. And as you guys know, there's nothing they can shrug off a lot of people, but it's very hard to ignore the people living in your district. And so if you start getting calls, maybe on an individual piece of legislation, even maybe you're used to getting 10 or 15 calls. So this time, maybe you get 200 calls and you start going, what's going on? I need to pay a little bit more attention to this. And that's the power of a telepatriot mission.
Yeah. And I think it's very important for people to understand this. This is, we have people coming into convention of states and wanting to know what they can do, and they may not know what they want to do. They maybe they don't want to take on a leadership role. Maybe they have time constraints or other work constraints, whatever it might be, and so being a telepatriot is just one of the many roles that a person could take on and to express their activism, right? And again, this is just one of many roles that we have available for someone to express their activism. And I mean, I've made calls from my car, waiting to pick up my grandkids from school. This is something you can do just about anywhere.
Yeah, we normally ask people to sign up to be a volunteer. Once you get in the system as a volunteer, then you can be assigned the role of a telepatriot participant, and be a member of the team. And it used to be, back not long ago, these missions were sporadic. They came along every once in a while. And now they've made the commitment that they will keep a telepatriot mission active all the time. And so literally you can come into Convention of States, being a brand new person wondering what to do. And from the moment you get started, you can be introduced to telepatriot and get actively involved in something right away. And so
what's the last mission that you were involved in, Dan?
The last mission
was the Texas rally. Wasn't that a mission?
Yep, that was a mission. I was not involved in that one.
Okay.
Probably Houston, wasn't it, Dale?
Well, I did 2 or 3 after Houston.
Oh, okay.
Houston was one I was involved in, and that was, they got, as Convention of States people, rules are different in every state because of our nonprofit status, but we can get involved in certain elections if, in fact, the rules of that state allow that to happen. And yes, the Houston situation was one where we heavily influenced a school board with some newly elected incoming conservative school board members to fight against critical race theory, this strange gender ideology stuff, and a lot of those things that are flaring up in schools across the country.
Right.
And so you can make an impact like that as well. You never know really what the mission's going to be, but it's always there for you. There's always a script. And I've talked with, in the short time I've been around, there's a number of people, Dale and Ken, that I've talked with who had physical limitations, some kind of thing that just doesn't, they can't move well or something like that. Some people have very limited transportation, depend upon family members to move them from place to place because of this or that. And this is something that you can do at your leisure in virtually any setting. And so it's really ideal for people that have a challenging circumstance if they
Yeah.
want to get involved in some kind of activism.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Very good. Well, let's talk about another form, another way of expressing one's activism. And this is relatively new. So called block walking. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, it's relatively new with us, but if you work elections and if you try to support a given candidate, you've probably been involved in this in some way. Going neighborhood to neighborhood with your favorite candidate for local office or things like that. In the COS world, we basically have a message that we want to share about Convention of States. We have some T-shirts that are made up that are recognizable, white T-shirts with bold COS print to kind of announce, who we are. And we'll go out and hit a neighborhood, normally on a Saturday from say 10 to noon, and we'll just go knock on doors. And if there's nobody there, we have some handout material that announces what the Convention of State mission is that we leave. Something just very brief. If the person does come, we open up a dialogue with them, ask them if they're satisfied with the federal government as it now stands, or do they believe in term limits? Do they support a reduction in federal spending? And some basic questions to which most people agree. And so that opens up a dialogue, and you give them the opportunity then to sign a petition, showing their support for Convention of States, that petition then eventually going to their elected representatives. And so it's just a way of meeting people, sharing your message in person. And once again, it builds camaraderie within your team because you're out there working together with a group of people. And traditionally, people go out and work for a couple of hours, in a neighborhood and then go out to lunch together. So you share the experience, you share what worked well and what didn't work well. The worst and best dressed homeowners that you ran into, and those kind of things, whenever you open the door. But it's just a great experience for getting the message out at a local level, and it allows you to do a little neighborhood bonding face to face within your own communities.
Well, we just our very first block walking event was conducted, I think it was this last Saturday, here near where I live in Fort Wayne. It was in a little community just south of Fort Wayne called Roanoke, and evidently had a very good, successful morning block walking.
Yeah, I think the team consisted of maybe 7-8 people, and they knocked on, during the period of time that they were out, they knocked on, I think they said 59 doors. They left handout material every place that they knocked. And then they ended up with conversations that resulted in 16 petitions being signed.
Yeah.
So it was a very successful day. And, working gun shows and community festivals and that kind of thing, sometimes you don't get much over that, from working a whole day.
Right.
So, it's very effective, and it's person to person. And as you guys know, there's nothing more effective in marketing than person to person.
That's for sure.
As a matter of fact, we're going to try and have next Monday evening on COS Indiana Live, we're going to try and have the regional events coordinator, Lisa Phillips, that organized this block walking event. So we're going to try and have her on to kind of give us a report on how things went, maybe some pictures and a little video. So we're going to try and put something together on that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's excellent.
I think we'll be seeing more of this across the state, and which is obviously what we want to see happen. So,
well, and all of these things that we've been talking about, the relationship building, telepatriot, block walking, and all these things are assisting us in the buildup for the 2024 election cycle. And so the goal is to enhance these teams and these outreach efforts so that we're at the top of our game whenever the next election rolls around. Because all of these tools, if you want to call them that, are going to be really important as we strike out to help promote the COS message during that cycle and look for candidates that will support us.
Good. All right. Well, Dale, thanks for coming on short notice. I will say, I think I just contacted Dale, I think it was yesterday, and said, hey, I need somebody to fill in for us. So glad you could come in and give us some of your initial insights here. Like I said, we'll have you back at a later time and see how if your insights have changed any during that time.
Well, before we send Dale down to the green room, Dale, I want to go ahead and post up a couple of comments that have come in.
Okay, good.
For that. So just a couple of people. Obviously, we have some people like our Jerry Rowe, who says, congrats, Dale. And we have that followed up by John Graves, who said, I can't think of a better person to fill the big shoes of state director than Dale Tipton. Congratulations, and I look forward to working for you and with you to fix our government. So thanks for that, John. It's awesome. And I think we had, let me see if there was one more up here. Let's see. Well, we have our friend Robert, who says, who's the good looking Dale now? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
By the way,
Robert should know that if he even has to ask that question, he's got a problem. All right.
Yeah, the fan club is growing, Dale.
By the way, the John Graves comment there, John is going to be our guest next Monday evening on COS Indiana Live. John's a relatively new district captain, and so we've already had him lined up to be our guest next Monday evening. So, John, awesome. Hopefully you're still watching this evening. We need to set up a rehearsal between now and next Monday. So I'll be in contact with you. Look for my email, John.
There you go.
Need to set up a rehearsal and get you ready for next Monday evening. Excuse me, folks. I have to use my handkerchief there a little bit. But Dale, again, thank you for coming on tonight. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to talk to you two gentlemen.
And congratulations once again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dale.
All right. Well, Ken, let's get then into Raise Your Voice.
We can do that. We'll bring on Marengo to do that for us. If he's there.
It's time for Raise Your Voice, a segment that features you. Scan the code and join the fun. It's your turn to be heard.
Well, there you go. I'm not sure whether there's a little lag coming from that video or not, but maybe it was just on my end. But if it is, hang in there. I think the audio is coming across. But we'll go ahead and bring up our poll for the night. And as we mentioned before, the QR code will be there for those who want to participate tonight. And we'll go ahead and bring that back up again now. Hopefully. Get a little rubber ball. Can you see it now?
Okay, now we can see it. Yeah.
All right. We do have a bit of a lag going on, so just bear with us. The internet is probably being a little bit waterlogged after all the rain we've had here in Indiana. But
probably so. Yeah.
Here's the QR code, and again at slido.com, you can enter 867-492, and you'll be all registered to participate in tonight's poll. And we'll give you a second or two to get your smartphones out in case that's if that's the case. And before we go ahead and start with our first question tonight. So with that, we'll go ahead and it'll also be on the side column as we get this one here. But our first question tonight is, when did Indiana pass the resolution? When did the state of Indiana pass the resolution? Was it 2014, 2015, 2016, or 2017? And we have quite a few coming in at 2016. A few thinking 2017 was the resolution passed. And a few thinking at 15. So it's a good, I guess it's a good question tonight, Dale, that we secure everybody's knowledge as to when the state actually did pass. and being the sixth state, it certainly was in the year 2016. So that's the correct answer.
Yep.
The correct answer for tonight is 2016. So we'll show that correct answer. There it is. 71% of you got it. So I think most people that have been around a little bit understand when Indiana passed, and certainly we were on the early side of passing that resolution.
Yep.
So let's go on to number 2 tonight. And that question is, how many pillars are there in the resolution? Is it 2, 5, 6, or 3? How many pillars are in the resolution?
A pillar being a stipulation in the resolution, right?
There you go. I was going to ask you to qualify that there, Dale. So you're right with that. It's within the resolution. So we've got some people saying it was 5, and 80% of the people are now at 3. We've got nobody at 2 and 6. So 3 and 5 are the two areas there that most people have zeroed in on. So it's the old 80-20 rule here, but the 80-20 rule was not the 20% that were correct. Actually, it was it is 3. 3 pillars are in the resolution.
Right.
And I think we've talked about them enough, Dale. What do you want to remind people what those three pillars
I
are?
was afraid you were going to ask me to do that. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about, were you going to be able to answer everything tonight? So I figured I'd throw that one at you.
Well, I may not have the wording down exactly right, but the first pillar has to do with addressing the national debt and addressing the spending and so forth involved. In other words, just addressing the national debt issue.
Yeah.
The second pillar is addressing the breadth and control of the federal government. And the third pillar is to address term limits for Congress as well as all federal officials.
Yeah.
So those are the three pillars of the resolution, and it's the resolution, or back in the day it was referred to as the call, that determines the agenda of the convention. And so the convention would be limited to addressing and proposing amendments that deal with those three pillars of the resolution. Yes.
And that eliminates the myth about runaway conventions, because we can only address those 3 areas.
Yeah. Can only address those 3 areas. And of course, again, these would be proposed amendments, and they would have to be voted upon, and any that were accepted as proposed amendments then would have to be subjected to ratification, which would require 38 states to ratify.
38 states to ratify. Quite a high bar, and that was done on purpose.
Yes.
It was done on purpose. Well, and we had a great roundtable last week on that third pillar that you talked about, term limits. So
that's right. It was very good.
People want to go back and review that video or podcast. That was a good one on term limits. So
yeah.
With that, we'll move on.
I think a good roundtable topic, maybe for our May roundtable, might be talking about, what is a runaway convention? Talk about because there's an awful lot of our opposition uses that a great deal on us.
Quite a bit. That's a good point. We might have to look into that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
what is a runaway convention? Yep. We'll move on to our final question tonight, and that is, what year did Dale Parrish become state director? Was it 2015, 2016, or 2017? What year did Dale Parrish become the state director?
Not the current Dale, but the old Dale, right?
The old Dale, yeah. The one who's at this point, set down some new directions that we've been followed for a few years, and now we got a 67-33 split here, Dale. It's kind of shrinking a little bit. We got people leaning towards 2017, and now we got a few people that said it could be 2015. So 2020 and 60 So we'll have to see what year did Dale Parrish actually take over as state director? Well, we'll go ahead and pull up the answer tonight because it seems to have settled in here at 17%, 33%, and 50% of the people say 2017. So the correct answer is 2017.
There you go. There you go.
So when he came on, and obviously at this point he's led the way for many years, and now we're looking for Dale T to take over and continue from there. So thanks for participating tonight in our Raise Your Voice segment, and I think we had some good answers on that, and see what we do from there. But
all right.
Yeah.
All right, Ken. Good.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, let's go ahead and let everyone know and remind everyone that if any of you have any questions about tonight's broadcast, any comments or questions that you didn't get a chance to bring up and you thought about maybe after the broadcast is over, feel free to email us at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. Ken and I check those every day, and we will respond to you as quickly as we can. So that's our email, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. Little information. I mentioned this a little bit earlier when John Graves had submitted a comment to us this evening. But our next COS Indiana live broadcast will be a week from tonight, May 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be talking about different things, but one of the main features will be our guest, and it'll be our new district captain, another one of our new district captains, John Graves, who is the district captain of House District 42. So you'll get a chance to meet John. And we always like to bring on new district captains or anyone really accepting and taking on a new leadership role in Convention of States here in Indiana. We always try to bring those individuals on and introduce them to everyone. So John Graves, next Monday evening, House District 42.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. We talked a bit about our last roundtable, which was on April 24th. Yep. And that recording is now posted on Facebook as well as YouTube and various other social media platforms.
And the podcast version of that, Dale, should be out if very soon. I think we just got that ready for the podcast.
Okay. Because we on the roundtable, which we do once a month on the fourth Monday of every month, a different format. It's a panel discussion as opposed to the format that you're seeing tonight. That format is a panel discussion, and we take a particular topic and really do our best to analyze that topic. And the topic for the April 24th roundtable was, in fact, term limits. Had a very, very interesting, I think, conversation on that. So next roundtable coming up will be May 22nd. Don't have a topic right now, definite topic, but maybe we'll choose that runaway convention topic. I don't know.
The runaway convention could go in very well with the results of the race by that time. I mean, it's hard to believe we're in May, Dale. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, we could be talking about the race and the runaway race too. You know.
Yeah. All right. So next roundtable, May 22nd. All right. And Ken just alluded to one of our podcasts. We offer two podcasts now, COS Indiana Live podcasts. One is, in fact, the audio portion of our roundtable broadcast. The audio portion, we offer that as a podcast. Then we also offer what we call COS Indiana Live Voices. And this podcast is totally focused on an individual, one of our outstanding dynamic volunteers here in Convention of States, Indiana. And we've done 6 of those. Am I right, Ken? Has there been 6 of them?
Yeah, there's been 6. We've got 6 done, and we know who the number 7 is going to be, the individual that we're going to be featuring. Do we know that still, Dale? I don't know. Do we?
And we just need to find a time to do that. You think we can get that done sometime this week?
I hope so, Dale. I hope so. We've had a bit of an interruption here in the last week or so, and so
yes,
we hope to get that get that done.
Well, the gentleman that's going to be featured on episode number 7 of the podcast is in fact Ken Kashuba. So, looking forward to talking to you on that. I always learn things about these individuals that I didn't know before. So I'm anxious to learn some new things about you, some secrets from your past.
Well, I'll have to dig deep in and see what we can reveal and what we can't reveal for sure.
I can't wait for that. So
I'm looking forward to it, Dale.
Let's get that done this week. Ken.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, we've kind of hinted around this. If you want to join Convention of States here in Indiana, go to our national website, conventionofstates.com, and sign up, become a supporter. And that's the first step for you to take, is go to our national website, conventionofstates.com. Okay. All right. Well, Ken, want to just throw up our email address one more time, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. So that's how you can get a hold of us if you want to submit a comment or a question. So anything else, Ken, that from our viewers this evening that we need to take a look at?
No questions. We got, just the bit of chatter going on amongst the group about tonight and Dale T, obviously. So no real questions. I've got something that I've got to work out with David Todd here. Apparently he's trying to get some information from I guess he's had some trouble with emailing, and so I'm going to go ahead and look up David's number in our LMT and try and give him a text or a call and see if I can work out what it is he's looking to get done.
Oh, okay. All right.
Something about one of our earlier episodes that one of our guests was talking about different positions, and I'm not sure whether those were positions within COS or whether those were positions outside that he could run for. So I just need to clarify what David's looking for there. So if you're still on, David, we'll look for a text or a call from me, and we'll try and get you straightened out.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Well, Ken, we'd like to kind of close on this, our favorite acronym, GOTC, get off the couch. And
Dale, you mentioned before you close. Now, were you going to run a John's Journal tonight?
Oh, for goodness sakes! I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I completely forgot that. Yes, we got John's Journal, and John is. I think this is a topic he likes to talk about. It has to do with abortion, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So John's got some pretty some good insights, I think, on this. So I'm glad you mentioned this. I completely forgot about this.
That's all right. We got busy looking at a bunch of, the whole night was a little different tonight, so we had to have to be adjusted. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and close out on this. We'll be right back after we play this. Okay.
Sounds good.
John Ackerman for Convention of States, Indiana. Dr. Haywood Robinson is a former abortionist, and he is quoted as saying that abortion is not medicine because pregnancy is not a disease. Think about that. Abortion is not medicine. And so when they talk about women's health care, and what they mean is abortion, they're not talking about medicine, because pregnancy is not a disease. Pregnancy is a condition that results, hopefully, in the birth of a living human being. And those of us on the pro-life side of the equation rejoiced when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. It energized our opponents on the left, who view abortion as women's health care. It's hard even to say that. They were emboldened and empowered by that Supreme Court decision, but so were we. And here in Indiana, our General Assembly passed SB 1 in the summer of 2022, which severely restricts abortion in the state. At the time of this recording, that law has been put on hold. It's in the courts, and the courts are deciding whether it's constitutional. But everybody that I know of who's in the know on this thing says it's constitutional. The Supreme Court already said so back in the summer of 2022 when they overturned Roe v. Wade. And so we look forward to the day when life is celebrated in the great state of Indiana, and most abortions are no longer legal, because abortion isn't medicine, because pregnancy is not a disease. A quote from Dr. Haywood Robinson, a former abortionist.
Well, there was John's journal, and John's always got some good opinions on different topics. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. I completely forgot that we had that to do tonight. So
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
All right. Well, let's once again close out on our favorite acronym, GOTC, get off the couch. So many of us have been to that position on the couch, and we decided to get off the couch and join Convention of States. And that's what it takes, is to come to that point where it's time to do something. And now is a perfect time to get off the couch and get involved. So anything else, Ken?
Nope, you got it. Roll up your sleeves and join us. It's as we talked about it earlier, it's a family thing, and we'd love to have you join the family.
There you go. All right. Well, folks, that's it for tonight. We will see you next Monday evening, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and look forward to seeing you at that time. So good night, everyone.
Good night.